welcome back to Sports Talk Live. Unfortunately, Riley couldn't be here with us, but we have our field reporter, Paige Elliott, with us. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So we'll start off with a sport that you're comfortable with, Westchester Basketball. Now the men, they're on a really good hot streak. They've won their last 5 games after beating Shippensburg. What do you guys think? What's the reasons for them having such success?
I would say that the men has a lot of depth on their team, and I think that every week it's a new player that's standing out. They have Troy Hockaday, who stood up at the last game, Carl Johnson, Jaleel Mack. It's always somebody new, and I think that really helps them, especially in the guard position.
I have to agree with Paige here, and even more than that, a lot of the role players have really been stepping up lately. People you wouldn't think of like Eric Franz, Matt Wisely, young guys who you wouldn't think would contribute, but are actually doing a great job. So that's a good reason why Westchester has been playing so well lately.
Yeah, Taylor, another thing to look at is they're running a really fast-paced offense. Even when they're up by a decent margin, they're continuing to just keep the ball moving fast, and I really like that. I think it's helping them in the end. Moving forward, they're playing ESU on Saturday, and ESU currently sitting at number 1. So if we can beat them on Saturday, we're going to be able to pass them. But we've really had our struggles against them. We lost them in the tournament last year, and this year they had our number. So what do you guys think? Is it just poor matchup, bad luck? What do you guys think about ESU?
I think one of the keys to this game is that they really need to contain East Stroudsburg's big man, Terrence King. I think that if they do that and utilize their game plan, they'll be ready to beat them this time. They already lost twice, and I think they're really hungry for it.
Right, you're right, Paige. And as you just said, they lost to him twice. They lost to him last year in the championship game. So I think they might be in their heads. They have to just wipe all that away, forget about the past, and just move forward. And I think if they do that, they have a shot at winning.
Okay, so with this said, we always like to do our picks. So I want to hear if you think Westchester's going to win, how much are they going to buy or lose by, whatever you want to say, and who's going to be the standout star?
I'm going to say Westchester is going to win. I've talked to some of the players, and they are very, very excited for this game. Up by 10, and I think the stand-up star for this game is going to be Jaleel Mack.
Okay, now for me, usually I pick against them, especially when they're away, but I have a different feeling this time. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win overtime, and I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Franz again, Eric Franz. I just think that he had double-digit rebounds last game. I think he's going to come through and have a big game for us.
Okay, I think we're all going to agree here because I think Westchester's going to win. Close game, not going to go to overtime, but they're going to win by 4. And you kind of stole my man, Eric Franz, because I just like the way he's been playing recently with a lot of confidence. He's really been stepping up a lot, so if he can continue to do that, I think they're going to be able to win.
Definitely.
So now let's switch over and talk about your sport, women's basketball. Kind of on the other end, they've been struggling. They lost their last 4 games. What's been the problem for you guys?
I think the main thing is the little things. Their turnovers, we're getting out rebounded, and it's kind of been the same thing over and over. And I think that if we utilize our game plan, we'll be able to play fine. And I think going into playoffs, we'll make a few changes.
Another thing, and you were talking about your last couple games. In the last game, the fouls, especially in the second half, were 22 fouls against us or something crazy. Do you think the refs have anything to do with your recent struggles, especially last game?
You never want to blame it on the refs, but like you said, our last game was a little crazy. There was 21 fouls called on us in the second half. Wow. It was 15-34 for the overall game, and even Shippensburg got to the line 50 times and shot and made 41. So, I mean, That's where they won the game.
And you were talking about changes that you guys are making, and I noticed for the first time in the past 2 years, Coach Kane switched away from your 5-in, 5-out offense.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about the thought process in that?
I think the main thing was Coach came to practice after we lost 3 games in a row, and she said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, and that's what we were doing with the system. And she came in like, you know what, we're going to play traditional basketball here, and hopefully, things will change up, so that's what we're going to go with for the rest of the games.
And luckily, you guys already locked in your playoff spot. You're going to be playing Kutztown in the first round. So you still have 2 games left, and I know you don't want to look past them, but how are you going to use your games versus ESU and Cheney to get prepared for Kutztown?
Well, one thing you never want to do, like you said, is to look past the team. So we're definitely going to use this to help us prepare. But what we're going to do is we're looking at Kutztown, and they already beat us twice, so it's hard to beat a team 3 times. So we're just going to do everything we need to do. Like I said, the little things earlier, turnovers, boxing out, and I think we got it.
Well, it seems like you really know the things that you need to fix, so we look forward to you guys getting past Kutztown and making it further on in the playoffs. For now, let's switch to a different topic, and we're going to talk about women's lacrosse. They just recently played the Wales national team on Wednesday in a exhibition game, so it was really cool to watch, seeing another team playing from another country. What do you guys think?
What makes it really cool, Brian, is that Westchester was one of 9 universities to play against the Welsh in their national tour. And with us being 4th ranked nationally, it's really cool to see us play another nationally ranked team.
Another thing is even better than that is that we actually beat them. It was a tight game. I know, Brian, you were there, but at the end we were able to go into overtime and actually win, so that was even better.
Yeah, I was there, and it was really cold, actually. And the Wales team actually had the advantage the whole first half. They were always keeping it, 1 to 2 goal differential. In the end, Westchester just kept fighting back. They got it in overtime, and they were able to pull it out. So it was a really good start to their season. And They're not going to be playing again until March 7th. They're playing here again at Westchester, so hopefully they continue the success to start their season. Well, that's pretty much going to do it for Westchester Sports today. If we missed anything, be sure to let us know on our website, or you can always pick up an edition of the Quad. As we talked before, great sports section, lots of great pictures, so be sure to grab one anywhere around campus. They pretty much have them on at all the buildings and stuff like that. So for now, let's finish up as we always do with some Outside the Horns.
Well, today on Outside the Horns, let's introduce the question of the week. This week we asked, will the Sixers make the playoffs? Why or why not? Let's see what the students had to say.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Sixers. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
I think the Sixers have a great chance of making the playoffs, and that's if Andrew Bynum come back. But that's all they need, in my opinion, is a big man. Because they have Drew Holiday, they have Thaddeus Young, when he comes back from injury. They have all the pieces, but all they need is a big man just to put it together. And if Andrew Bynum do come back and he's 100%, he definitely will make the playoffs.
I don't think the Sixers will make the playoffs because they're not playing very well. Their chemistry isn't on, and they really only have one good player in Drew Holiday.
I really hope the Sixers can make the playoffs this year but in order to do that, they're going to need Bynum back and they're going to need Thad Young. So if they can get all the puzzle pieces back together, I think they have a good chance. But if not, then they're going to have to figure something else out.
I don't think the Sixers will make the playoffs because they've already fallen a little bit behind in the standings, and they have a lot of young players that could use more experience.
I don't think they'll make the playoffs because I'm pretty sure right now the Celtics are on a hot streak, and I think they have a good spot, them or the Bucks. And the Sixers are 4 games out, so I don't think they have what it takes. And we're past halfway through the season, so I don't think they'll make it this year.
I think they will clinch the last spot. I think they got a lot of potential with the players they have.
I do not think that the Sixers are going to make the playoffs because the rest of the teams in the conference are that much better. They're not playing very well right now.
I do think the Sixers will make the playoffs this year. If Andrew Bynum comes back and he's able to play 80%, it'll be a big boost for us. Also, if Thad Young comes back from injury, he's able to produce like he was in the first half of the season, I do believe we have a chance to get the 8th or possibly the 7th seed.
Okay, so we got a few different answers, but it seemed like most of the students agreed that the main thing is going to be if Bynum returns, if we're going to be able to make the playoffs. What do you guys think?
I'm going to be optimistic and say that I do think that they are going to make the playoffs. I think Bynum will be a key factor for them, and I think other players like Drew Holiday will step up and help them get into the playoffs.
Well, I want to go, sorry, Paige, I want to go on the other side. I want to go and say that they're not going to make the playoffs. They're a few games under 500 now, but just the way they've been playing, even if Bynum does come back, even if he does, I doubt he even will. Even if he would come back, I think that we don't have a good shot at making it. I just don't think he's going to be able to gel with the team enough, and I just don't think we have enough time. So I'm going to say no.
I'm going to tend to agree with Taylor on this one slightly. I don't really think it's going to be Bynum that's going to affect us making the playoffs or not because I'm just over the whole thing. His timetable, no one still knows when he's going to come back, but he's practicing. It seems like he's been practicing for the past 2 months. But
Right.
So if he was healthy enough to come back, he would have already. So even if he comes back later in the season, I think it's going to be a little bit too late. And he's not going to be 100% to help us anyway. So if anything, it's going to be the players like Drew Holiday, as you said, that are going to be able to step up for us to make the playoffs. So let's stay on the NBA topic. And we can't ignore the fact that LeBron has been playing out of his mind recently. And with it being Michael Jordan's birthday this past week, we got to ask the question that everyone always asks, comparing LeBron James to Michael Jordan. What do you think? Do you think LeBron James will ever be as good as Michael Jordan?
I am a Michael Jordan fan, so no. I grew up watching Michael Jordan. I look up to him, and I think that, yes, LeBron is a great player. I think there's a lot of great players out there that they can compare to LeBron and other players, but nobody will ever be Michael Jordan.
I'll agree with you on this one. Michael, again, not just his playing, one-on-one, who knows if LeBron might win, Michael might win, but just what he's done for the game, just the face, and just all the popularity and the money that he's made for the league in the last decade or two. I mean, it's crazy. So I'm going to go with Michael Jordan as well.
Yeah, I'll be the first one to admit that I'm not the biggest LeBron James fan, and I do like Michael Jordan, but I'm not going to be biased here. I'm going to say I could see LeBron James in the end having more talent. He's a more talented player. He's a bigger, athlete. He's got the advantage there, and that's where he is better than Michael Jordan. I'm not going to say that he's not. But the things that Michael Jordan has that LeBron James I don't think ever will have is that the drive, the determination, the will to win, and that's what makes Michael Jordan, in the end, the greatest player to ever play the game. So I think with that said is why LeBron James is never going to be as good as Michael Jordan. But as always, that's just our opinion, and we want to hear from you, the viewers. So that's going to be this week's poll question. When all said and done, who will be considered the greatest player to ever play the game? Go to our website, sportstalklive.net, to cast your vote. That's going to do it for this week on Sports Talk Live. We'll be here next week, same time and same place. Take it easy, Westchester.